Welcome to Your Biz, Your Rules, the podcast for business-minded go-getters hosted by me, your favourite brain and biz coach, Dara Paddy. This is the spot for those of you ready to blend heart and head, woo and do, income and impact, change and chill, and so much more. So grab yourself a cuppa and let's get started. Welcome to episode 207 of Your Biz, Your Rules. Now, I know that last week I said that this episode was going to be all about what lets most coaches and healers down, but I changed my mind. If you are looking forward to that little rant of mine, don't worry, I will record that one at some other point because I do think it's an important topic. But I've just been getting nudges to talk about something else today, and you know me, I follow the nudges whenever they come at me. So today we are going to talk about the topic of clarity. I've noticed a bit of a theme recently, both in things like posts that I've read, but also conversations that I've been having and things that have come up on coaching calls, where people are describing themselves as feeling a bit foggy or a bit unsure or a bit torn, a bit uncertain. So I thought I would share 3 of my very favourite ways to find clarity. And I'm talking about real clarity here because what I see a lot of are like trainings, tools, tactics that help you create the veneer of clarity. So you get the impression of having focus. You put this mask on that feels like you're in flow and you know what you're doing. But in reality, it's more of a distraction and it's actually pulling you further away from where you should be putting your time and energy, if that makes sense. And that's not what this is. So what I'm going to be sharing are practices that will help you get clarity now, but also whenever you need it again in the future. And this isn't exclusive to business. So yes, this will work and help you get clarity in your business, but it will also help you get clarity in whichever area of your life that you're really trying to prioritize right now. So this is not going to be the basic bitch business advice that promises clarity but delivers a superficial bandage that makes you feel like you're on it, when in reality you're still just grappling for a quick fix. So we are not going to be talking about doing market research. We are not going to be talking about learning more about your ideal client avatar. We are not going to be talking about cyber stalking the competition or any of the other draining nonsense you've been told will help you get clear on your next steps. Because the pattern I've seen is that it's research. Research is what gives us clarity. More information gives us clarity, and that is the opposite of true. More information gives us more options, more possibility to be indecisive, more opportunity to doubt ourselves. That is not clarity. Anyway, before I get fully up on that soapbox, let's get down to business, shall we? So the first practice that will help you gain clarity, and this won't come as a surprise to anyone if you've been here a while, is journaling. I love journaling. I credit my reasonable level of sanity to my journaling practice. And it's something that I really notice when it's absent. So if I ever go a day where I don't journal, I can feel the difference. And that to me is, a big siren that it is something that I should be prioritizing daily. I'm not saying that you have to do any of these practices daily, by the way. You can use them at whatever frequency works for you. But for me, journaling specifically is a daily thing. And there are 2 different ways that I use my journaling habit to get more clarity. So the first is by doing morning pages. So morning pages is a concept that Julia Cameron talks about inside her book, The Artist's Way. And essentially all you are doing is first thing in the morning, before you consume anything else, you write 3 pages in a journal, longhand. So in a physical journal, you free write. And it doesn't, you're not censoring yourself, you're not following any rules, you're not sticking to a particular topic, you are just stream of consciousness writing. And the reason that I find this so helpful is because it allows me to just get any and all thoughts and feelings on paper. And when my thoughts and feelings are on paper and they feel a little bit more removed from my brain, I can then look at those things and work through the tangle of thoughts that are going on. So this is where I often find some really great ideas that I want to take action on in my business. It might also be helpful for giving me indications on things that I need to work on elsewhere in my life, but just getting it all on paper first, super helpful. And then the other way that I like to use my journal to bring me more clarity is using prompts. So there are many prompts out there in the world, many. You could just Google journal prompts. You could search on Instagram journal prompts and you will find questions to use. But the reason that I love to use journal prompts is that it helps you get a bit more focused and a bit more intentional about your journaling practice. Now, I have a whole year's worth of prompts that are available to you inside of Unshakable Journaling. If you want to check that out, the link will be in the show notes. But like I said, you can get your prompts from pretty much anywhere. You can even create them for yourself. The reason that I like to do this is because, like I said, it brings more of a laser focus to a particular topic. And what I typically do when I'm using prompts is I will set a timer for myself for at least 10 minutes. And that might seem like quite a long time to be focusing on one question, but there is a reason that I do this. So if I have a prompt, if I have a question, it will take me less than 30 seconds to answer it consciously. So immediately an answer will come to my mind and I'll be able to write that really quickly. The reason that I force myself to sit there and journal on this question for at least 10 minutes is because it pushes me to go deeper, to really challenge me to think, to consider, to work through things in a way that I wouldn't necessarily if I was just answering a question superficially. And I don't do prompt journaling every single day. I do the morning pages every single day. I typically use the prompts when there is a particular area that needs more focus and attention from me. So that's the first practice that really helps me get a lot more clarity in my business. And I keep saying in my business, but like I said, you can use these to upgrade different areas of your life too. But the second practice that I want to talk to you about is breath work. So I mentioned breath work briefly in a few episodes ago. I think it was episode 205, where I was talking about how to manage your mind, your time, and your energy in 2022. So breath work for me is such a powerful method of energetic clearing. It really allows you to release some of the dramas, the emotions, the limitations that you've been carrying around with you. Any areas where you're feeling stuck or unsure, it's such a great way to shift those and also make space to claim what it is that you want instead. So in this case, that might be clarity. And one of my favourite things about breathwork is that you don't always have to be consciously aware of what's holding you back for it to work. There are some tools that we use to, help us in a personal development sense, where you have to know the reason for things. You have to be able to name the emotion, or you need to be able to figure out why something is the way it is for you to then unpick and unravel and release. With breathwork, you don't need to have that conscious awareness for it to work, which is great. And then last but not least, the third practice that really helps get next level clarity is hypnotherapy. Now, hypnosis gets a pretty bad name because we see things like stage hypnosis where people are getting hypnotized to cluck like chickens or kiss random strangers, and we also see TV hypnosis or film hypnosis where people can be hypnotized to act completely differently to how they usually would. Like they can be hypnotized to kill people or commit crimes or do all of these sensational things. That is not how hypnosis works. You're never at the mercy of someone else. You are always in control of your own faculties. It's a co-creative process between you and your hypnotherapist that allows you to rewire any of the beliefs or patterns that you've adopted that no longer serve you. And even if you are listening to a recording, it's still a co-creative thing. All hypnosis is self-hypnosis. You're always making the choice to be there, to listen, to take things in. And even if a hypnotherapist tries to make a suggestion that doesn't feel right for you, you always have the choice as to whether you accept that or not, and whether you take action on that or not. It's not witchcraft. It's really not. Again, another soapbox for me to get on another day, but hypnotherapy really is such a powerful tool for releasing anything that is keeping you stuck, even whether they're things that you're aware of or not, and making space to call in what it is that you really want, similarly to breathwork. So to recap, the 3 potent practices that I use personally and also with my clients to get more clarity are journaling, breathwork, and hypnotherapy. Individually, they all work wonders, but can you imagine the sheer magnitude of what could happen if you combined all 3? Well, there's actually no need to imagine, because that's exactly what we do in Unlocked, my new 8-week breathwork and energy healing program. So we'll be using a combination of journal activations, breathwork, and hypnotherapy to blast through 8 of the most common limitations that I see business owners deal with. And I would love to have you join us. I've popped a link to more information about Unlocked in the show notes if you're interested, so definitely go take a look now. And that's your only action step for this week. Take a look at the enrollment page, read over it, and DM me on Instagram if you have any questions at all. Now, the last thing before I go, tomorrow, so the 22nd of February 2022, is the 6-year anniversary of me being full-time in my business. That feels wild. But I thought in honour of that, I would make next week's episode a roundup of some of the most important lessons that I've learned in that time. So make sure you hit subscribe if you don't want to miss it. I'll see you then. Thank you for listening to Your Biz, Your Rules. I know that we all like to listen to podcasts, watch videos, read articles or books or posts on Facebook and not really do anything with that information. So I want to challenge you right now. I want to challenge you to take something from this episode, anything, and use it to spark action. Use it to activate some kind of change in the way you work and the way you live. Do yourself this service today. And tell me all about it on Instagram. Hop over, shoot me a DM, or share an Instagram story showcasing what action you are taking thanks to this episode. And of course, do all of the usual things. Subscribe, leave a review, let me know how much you love the show, and I will be back with you next week.